Good evening and welcome to the Sleeping Zoo. Facts to fall asleep to. The air at 18,000 feet is not merely cold, but possesses a thin crystalline quality. Here, in the jagged convergence of the Hindu Kush, the Karakoram, and the Himalayas, the very concept of life is pushed to its chemical and structural limits. To survive in this vertical wilderness, an organism must do more than inhabit the landscape. It must become a functional extension of the stone and the ice. Among the shifting scree slopes and the permanent glaciers of Central Asia, there exists a predator that has achieved a state of evolutionary perfection so specific that it remains one of the most elusive subjects in the history of natural science. This is the snow leopard, an animal that for centuries was known to the West only through fragmented pelts and the whispered reports of mountain nomads who spoke of a ghost that could vanish into solid rock. To understand the snow leopard, one must first dismantle the common misconceptions suggested by its name. For while it bears the rosettes of a leopard, its biological heritage tells a story of a far more ancient and formidable lineage. The taxonomic journey of the snow leopard, scientifically classified as Panthera uncia, is a masterclass in the complexities of feline genetics. For decades, the animal occupied its own lonely genus, uncia, because it appeared to be a morphological bridge between the great roaring cats and the smaller purring cats. It was a creature of contradictions that defied easy categorization by early naturalists who relied on skeletal structures and coat patterns alone. However, the advent of mitochondrial DNA sequencing in the late 20th and early 21st centuries revealed a startling reality that reshaped our understanding of the Pantheran family tree. The snow leopard is not a close relative of the African or Indian leopard, as its common name implies, but is instead the sister species to the tiger. The common ancestor of the snow leopard and the tiger likely diverged from the other big cats approximately 3.9 million years ago, carving out a specialized niche in the rising highlands of the Tibetan Plateau, while their striped cousins moved toward the humid river valleys and dense jungles of the east. This genetic proximity to the tiger explains the snow leopard's immense power and its stocky, muscular build. Yet the two species have spent millions of years perfecting diametrically opposed survival strategies. One of the most profound markers of the snow leopard's unique evolutionary path lies in the anatomy of its throat. Unlike the lion, tiger, leopard, and jaguar, the snow leopard lacks the fully ossified hyoid bone and the thick fibroelastic ligament that allows the other members of the Panthera genus to produce a true, ground-shaking roar. In the thin air of the high mountains, where sound travels differently and energy conservation is a matter of life and death, the snow leopard has retained a more primitive larynx. Instead of roaring, it produces a range of vocalizations including mews, growls, and a specific non-aggressive sound known as a prustin or chuff, which is created by blowing air through the mouth closed. Most remarkably, the snow leopard is the only big cat capable of a sustained domestic-style purr on both the inhale and the exhale. This lack of a roar is not a deficiency, but a specialized adaptation to a solitary life where stealth and silence are the primary tools of the hunt. A roar in the echoing canyons of the Altai Mountains would serve only to alert prey and competitors to the predator's location, whereas the subtle chuffing and purring maintain the social bonds between a mother and her cubs without breaking the silence of the peaks. Moving from the internal mechanics of sound to the external architecture of the body, we find a creature whose every square inch is designed to combat the lethal effects of extreme cold and low atmospheric pressure. The coat of a snow leopard is a marvel of biological engineering, possessing a density that is nearly unparalleled in the animal kingdom. On the belly, the fur can reach a length of nearly 5 inches, providing a thick, insulating buffer against the frozen ground when the animal is crouched in wait for prey. Science has determined that a snow leopard possesses approximately 26,000 hairs per square inch, a concentration that creates a microclimate of trapped warm air against the skin. Each hair follicle is part of a complex system where a long, stiff guard hair protects a dense, woolly undercoat. This dual-layered system is not just a barrier against the cold, but is also highly water-resistant, ensuring that melting snow does not penetrate to the skin and cause a rapid drop in core body temperature. The coloration of this fur, which is a smoky gray-white dappled with dark gray rosettes and spots, is so perfectly calibrated to the mineral composition of the granite and limestone cliffs it inhabits that the animal can remain visible to the naked eye only until it stops moving, at which point it seemingly dissolves into the mountain face. The physical proportions of the snow leopard further distinguish it from all other felines. It is a creature of low center of gravity and immense lateral strength. Its limbs are relatively short, but incredibly powerful, tipped with paws that act as natural high-performance snowshoes. These paws are disproportionately large, often reaching the size of a human head, and are covered in a dense carpet of fur, even on the underside between the toes. This serves 3 vital functions. It increases the surface area to prevent the leopard from sinking into deep snowdrifts. It provides a silent, padded footfall on jagged rock, and it protects the sensitive pads from frostbite. This lateral expansion of the foot allows the snow leopard to move with a deceptive, gliding grace across terrain that would be impassable for any other large predator. Yet, perhaps the most iconic feature of the snow leopard's physiology is its extraordinary tail. Often measuring the same length as the animal's entire body, roughly 3 feet of thick, muscular appendage, the tail is the snow leopard's multi-tool. At its base, the tail serves as a significant fat storage organ, allowing the leopard to maintain its energy levels during the lean winter months when prey is scarce. Structurally, it is a masterpiece of physics, acting as a dynamic counterbalance. When a snow leopard makes a leap across a mountain chasm, which is a feat it can accomplish over distances of 50 feet or more, the tail whips through the air in a corrective arc, allowing the cat to adjust its trajectory and landing posture mid-flight. When the hunt takes the leopard down a 60-degree scree slope at high speed, the tail serves as a rudder, providing the stability necessary to navigate the vertical chaos. Once the hunt is over, and the sun dips below the horizon, plunging temperatures to 40 degrees below zero, the tail undergoes a final transformation. The leopard curls into a tight ball and wraps the massive fur-clad tail around its face and body, tucked over its nose to act as a thermal blanket and a pre-filter for the freezing air it inhales. This process of inhalation is supported by a nasal cavity that is significantly larger and deeper than that of other big cats. As the leopard draws in the sub-zero air of the high altitudes, the expanded nasal passages act as a heat exchange system, warming the air through contact with a dense network of capillaries before it reaches the lungs. This prevents the cold from shocking the internal organs and helps maintain a constant core temperature in an environment where heat is the most precious commodity. Every aspect of the snow leopard, from the microscopic structure of its underfur to the macromechanics of its rudder-like tail, is a testament to an evolutionary journey that has rejected the generalist path in favor of a narrow, vertical perfection. It is a predator forged by the pressure of the mountains, a living embodiment of the uncia mystery that continues to fascinate the world of biology. While the external coat and skeletal structure of the snow leopard are visible triumphs of evolution, the most profound adaptations to the high-altitude environment occur at the cellular level, within the very chemistry of the animal's blood and lungs. To survive at elevations exceeding 18,000 feet, where the atmospheric pressure is less than half of that at sea level, the snow leopard must operate in what mountaineers call the death zone. In this realm, the human body begins to consume itself as oxygen levels plummet. Yet the snow leopard maintains a metabolic efficiency that allows for explosive bursts of predatory energy. This is made possible by a highly specialized hematological profile. The hemoglobin of the snow leopard has a significantly higher affinity for oxygen molecules than that of its lowland relatives. Each red blood cell is a more efficient carrier, capable of snatching scarce oxygen from the thin mountain air and transporting it to the vital organs and massive muscle groups with a speed that defies the lethargy usually associated with high-altitude existence. This efficiency is further supported by an increased concentration of red blood cells, a natural polycythemia that ensures the blood remains oxygen-rich even during the most strenuous physical exertion. However, such a high cell count can often lead to a dangerous thickening of the blood. Yet the snow leopard has evolved a unique vascular flexibility that allows this viscous, life-giving fluid to circulate freely through its extremities without risking the clots or heart strain that would plague a human at similar altitudes. Furthermore, the animal's lung capacity is disproportionately large relative to its body size. The chest cavity is broad and deep, housing lungs that can expand to draw in massive volumes of air, which is then processed through an exceptionally dense network of alveoli. This provides the surface area necessary for rapid gas exchange, ensuring that even in the middle of a high-speed chase across a vertical cliff face, the snow leopard's muscles do not succumb to the rapid buildup of lactic acid that would paralyze a lesser predator. Beyond the chemical mastery of its blood, the snow leopard is a creature of intense, calculated solitude, governed by the rigid laws of territoriality in a landscape where resources are spread thin across thousands of square miles. The home range of a single snow leopard can encompass an area of up to 800 square miles, a vast and jagged kingdom that must be patrolled and defended with constant vigilance. Because these animals are rarely in direct physical contact, they have developed a sophisticated long-distance communication system that utilizes the very geology of the mountains. A snow leopard moves through its territory like a ghost, yet it leaves behind a trail of chemical signatures that tell a detailed story to any other leopard that crosses its path. The most common method of communication is the scrape. Using its powerful hind legs, the leopard will push back the loose soil and scree to create a shallow, elongated depression, often at the base of a prominent overhanging rock or along a natural ridgeline. These scrapes are frequently accompanied by a spray of urine or the deposition of scat, creating a multi-sensory signpost that can persist for months in the dry, cold mountain air. By sniffing these marks, a passing leopard can determine the sex, age, health, and reproductive status of the territory's owner. It is a slow-motion conversation conducted over weeks and months, allowing solitary individuals to avoid unnecessary and potentially lethal physical confrontations, while still maintaining the boundaries of their respective domains. In addition to scraping, snow leopards engage in rock rubbing, where they press their cheeks and necks against the rough surfaces of granite outcrops. This behavior deposits oils from specialized scent glands, marking the vertical boundaries of their world and leaving a persistent olfactory shadow that serves as a warning to intruders and an invitation to potential mates. This life of solitude is punctuated by the sheer, terrifying violence of the hunt. The primary prey species for the snow leopard are the blue sheep, or baral, and the Siberian ibex, both of which are themselves masters of the vertical world. To catch a baral, the snow leopard must engage in a form of hunting that ignores the traditional horizontal plains of the savanna or the forest. A snow leopard hunt is a vertical event. The leopard typically approaches from above, utilizing its smoky coat to blend into the overhead rocks, while it watches the herd for hours, waiting for a single individual to move into a vulnerable position. When the moment arrives, the leopard does not simply run, it falls. It launches itself into a series of controlled tumbles and massive leaps, descending hundreds of feet in a matter of seconds. The physics of this descent are staggering. Because the terrain is composed of loose shale and near-vertical drops, the snow leopard must be able to withstand impact forces that would shatter the bones of most mammals. Its skeletal structure is remarkably flexible, with a spine that can twist and compress like a high-tension spring. During the final strike, the leopard often grapples with its prey as both animals tumble down a scree slope together. It is not uncommon for a snow leopard and a 300-pound ibex to fall 50 feet or more during the struggle, bouncing off rock ledges before coming to a rest at the bottom of a canyon. The leopard's grip is so tenacious, and its body so resilient, that it frequently survives these falls with no internal injuries, having successfully suffocated its prey during the descent. This ability to weaponize gravity, to use the mountain itself as a tool to disable prey, is what truly defines the snow leopard as the apex predator of the high peaks. Following a successful kill, the leopard's metabolic efficiency once again takes center stage. A large kill like an adult ibex can sustain a snow leopard for up to 2 weeks, and during this time, the cat will stay close to the carcass, guarding it against scavengers like the Himalayan griffon vulture or the Tibetan wolf. Every scrap of protein is consumed, including the bone marrow, which the leopard accesses with its massive carnassial teeth. In an environment where every calorie spent is a gamble, this ability to gorge and then fast for extended periods is the final piece of the survival puzzle. The snow leopard does not hunt for sport. It hunts to fuel the complex biological machinery that keeps it alive in a world that is fundamentally hostile to the presence of life. While the biological and predatory excellence of the snow leopard is a matter of scientific record, its existence in the human mind is a matter of myth, oracles, and ancient spiritual geometry. To the people of the high Himalayas, such as the Tibetans, the Ladakhis, and the Waki of the Hindu Kush, the snow leopard is not merely a pantherid predator. It is a mountain deity, a protector of the sacred heights, and a vehicle for the souls of the departed. In the profound silence of the high-altitude monasteries, the leopard is often depicted in Thangka paintings as the Mount of Milarepa, the great Tibetan poet's saint. Legend tells that Milarepa once transformed himself into a snow leopard to survive a winter of isolation in the great cave of conquering demons. When his disciples came to find him, they saw only the leopard, its golden eyes reflecting the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes, a testament to the belief that the cat and the monk share the same austere, meditative essence. This sacred lineage, however, does not end at the borders of the Tibetan plateau. In the modern era, the snow leopard has undergone a fascinating metamorphosis, leaping from the walls of ancient monasteries into the digital canvases of global pop culture. In the hands of modern mythmakers, the animators at Pixar, DreamWorks, and Disney, and the writers of Marvel and DC, the cat has been recast as an archetype of both the ultimate antagonist and the enigmatic sage. In the realm of DreamWorks animation, the snow leopard found its most formidable cinematic expression in the form of Tai Lung, the primary antagonist of Kung Fu Panda. Here, the biological traits of the Panthera uncia, such as the massive paws, the incredible leaping ability, and the thick rudder-like tail, are exaggerated to create a character of unparalleled physical power. Tai Lung represents the shadow self of the warrior archetype. He is the leopard stripped of its meditative Milarepa, like restraint and fueled by pure, unadulterated ambition. The choice of a snow leopard for this role was not incidental. In the visual language of the film, the leopard's monochrome palette and icy origins contrast sharply with the vibrant, earthy tones of the Valley of Peace, marking him as an outsider, a creature of the high, cold places where the air is thin and mercy is scarce. His escape from Korgum prison, where he uses his incredible strength to scale vertical walls, is a stylized homage to the real-life leopard's ability to navigate the most treacherous terrain on Earth. Contrast this with the more whimsical and philosophical treatment of the snow leopard in the world of Pixar and Disney. In Zootopia, while the snow leopard is a more peripheral figure, the choice of the species signals a shift in the public consciousness. No longer is the cat merely a man-eater of old colonial lore. It is part of a sophisticated, urbanized tapestry, a symbol of cool intellectualism. Pixar's broader influence on animal characterization often leans into the uncanny valley of animal intelligence, mirroring the real-world belief that snow leopards possess a sentient, almost human-like depth in their gaze. This is echoed in Disney's nature documentaries, such as Born in China, where the snow leopard dawa is framed through a lens of tragic heroism. Here, the myth being constructed is one of the Mother Protector, a narrative that resonates with the ancient Himalayan belief in the leopard as a guardian of the life cycle. In the expansive universes of Marvel and DC Comics, the snow leopard often appears as a totem of mystical power or a companion to high-altitude heroes. In Marvel's lore, the cold regions of the Himalayas are frequently prowled by white-furred cats that bridge the gap between the mundane and the magical. Heroes like Iron Fist or Doctor Strange often encounter these creatures as trials or guides. The white leopard in some comic iterations acts as a counterpart to the Black Panther, where the panther represents the lush, vibrant tech jungle of Wakanda. The snow leopard represents the stark, spiritual isolation of the peaks. They are two sides of the same feline coin. One a king of the earth, the other a ghost of the ether. The literary world has perhaps been the most successful in preserving the leopard's ghostly reputation while infusing it with modern fantasy elements. In Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials, the character Lord Asriel, who is a man of immense will and world-shattering ambition, possesses a daemon named Stelmaria, a magnificent snow leopard. Stelmaria is the perfect externalization of Asriel's soul, elegant, dangerous, and perfectly adapted to the high altitudes of intellectual and political struggle. She does not need to speak often. Her presence alone conveys a sense of cold, detached authority. Through Stelmaria, Pullman tapped into the ancient Ladakhi idea that the leopard is a vehicle for a high-status soul, a creature that exists partially in our world and partially in a realm of pure spirit. This transition from mountain deity to literary daemon to animated villain illustrates a unique cultural phenomenon. The snow leopard is one of the few animals that has never lost its dignity in pop culture. Unlike the lion, which can be caricatured as a bumbling king, or the tiger, which is often reduced to a circus performer, the snow leopard is almost always portrayed with a degree of reverence. Even as an antagonist like Tai Lung, it is respected for its mastery. This reverence extends into the world of video games and digital media, where the snow leopard is often the ultimate unlockable mount, or a rare legendary creature in RPGs like Far Cry 4 or World of Warcraft. In these digital spaces, the player is invited to engage with the leopard's ancient spiritual geometry through the lens of exploration. The hunt for the ghost becomes a digital pilgrimage, echoing the real-world expeditions of George Schaller and Peter Matthiessen. Ultimately, whether it is Disney framing the leopard as a symbol of maternal sacrifice, or a Marvel comic using it as a gateway to a hidden dimension, the core of the myth remains the same. The snow leopard represents the untouchable. It is the physical manifestation of the boundary between the known and the unknown. In an age where every corner of the globe is mapped by satellites and every animal is tracked by GPS, the snow leopard, which is, both in the wild and in our stories, retains a stubborn, beautiful invisibility. It remains the ghost of the peaks, a creature that we can see with our eyes, but can only truly understand through our imagination, our myths, and our art. As long as there are mountains to climb and stories to tell, the leopard will continue to walk through the thin air of our collective psyche, a golden-eyed reminder that some things on this earth are meant to remain sacred, silent, and wild. A spiritual connection is not merely a relic of the past. It is a living, breathing component of the landscape's ecology. In many remote villages, the presence of a snow leopard is seen as a barometer of the local god's favor. If the leopard vanishes, it is believed that the protector spirits have withdrawn their blessing, leaving the community vulnerable to drought, disease, and misfortune. This sacred ecology has historically provided a layer of protection for the cat that no modern law could replicate. The taboos against killing a mountain deity were absolute. However, as the modern world encroaches upon these high-altitude redoubts, the ancient walls of myth are beginning to crumble under the weight of economic necessity and the shifting climate, leading to a new and dangerous era of human-wildlife conflict. As the climate warms, the tree line is moving upward, shrinking the snow leopard's alpine habitat and forcing it into closer proximity with nomadic herders. When a leopard, driven by the scarcity of its natural prey like the baral and ibex, descends to take a domestic goat or a yak calf, it is no longer seen as a deity. It becomes a thief, a threat to the very survival of a family whose entire wealth is tied to their livestock. A single night of surplus killing, where a leopard's predatory instincts are triggered by the panicked movements of penned animals, can result in the loss of 20 or 30 sheep. For a subsistence herder, this is a financial catastrophe that often leads to retaliatory killing. The ghost of the mountains is being hunted not for its pelt, but for its hunger. The conservation frontier, therefore, is no longer just about biology. It is about socioeconomics and the innovative application of technology. Conservationists are now working to turn the snow leopard from a liability into an asset. Through leopard-proofing programs, villages are being equipped with solar-powered lights and reinforced nighttime corrals that utilize predator deterrent technology. Furthermore, community-based insurance schemes have been established where herders pay a small premium into a collective fund that compensates them for any livestock lost to predators. This shifts the burden of loss from the individual to the community and international donors, removing the primary motivation for retaliatory killing. In the jagged valleys of Spiti and Ladakh, the very people who once feared the leopard are now its primary guardians, acting as citizen scientists who track individual cats using camera traps and GPS data. On the technological edge, the study of snow leopards has undergone a digital revolution. Because the cats are so difficult to spot in the wild, researchers now rely on artificial intelligence and satellite telemetry. AI algorithms are trained to scan thousands of hours of camera trap footage, identifying individual leopards by the unique patterns of their rosettes, a biological fingerprint that remains constant throughout their lives. Meanwhile, GPS collaring programs are revealing migratory corridors that were previously unknown, showing that snow leopards frequently cross international borders between India, China, Mongolia, and Pakistan. This has led to the creation of transboundary conservation landscapes, where nations that are often at political odds must cooperate to protect a species that recognizes no human boundaries. The future of the snow leopard is a delicate balance between the ancient and the avant-garde. It requires the preservation of the sacred mountain myths that once protected them, combined with the hard-edged reality of satellite tracking and economic incentives. As we look to the horizon of the 21st century, the survival of the snow leopard remains the ultimate test of our ability to coexist with the wild. If we allow this shadow to disappear from the peaks, we lose more than just a species. We lose a piece of the Earth's mystery, a witness to the vertical extremes of our planet. The snow leopard reminds us that there are still places where the human foot does not easily tread, and where the silence of the snow is guarded by a ghost with golden eyes. To save the snow leopard is to save the wildness of the world itself, ensuring that the highest cat on earth continues to walk its lonely path through the clouds, forever out of reach, but never out of mind. Thank you and good night.